All right, so we're going to start talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. And so for example A, it says write the equation of each line. And remember, to write an equation, you need 2 points. So one point right here is the y-intercept, so 0, 7. And then another good point is this one here, which is actually 4, 4. And remember, you can type those into list and spreadsheet to get your equation. And so you would do, you already know how to do list and spreadsheet. So I'm going to tell you also that you can count your slope by doing rise and run or fall and run. And so if we were to fall, we would go down 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I fall 3 and I run 4. So my slope, or my equation, is y equals negative 3 over 4x plus my y-intercept, which is 7. And then if I look at line B, I need again 2 points. So first here is 0, negative 1. And then another good point is right here. It's 4, negative 4. And so again, you could type that into list and spreadsheet to get your equation. Or we can count it. We fall 1, 2, 3, run 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is the same slope. So I fall 3 and run 4, which means my equation is y equals negative 3 over 4x plus my y-intercept, which is negative 1. So I just write minus 1. And what do you notice about these lines? That they have the same slope. So they are parallel. Okay, that's the definition of parallel, that they have the same slope. Next, write the equation of each line again. We need 2 points. So here I have 0, 6, which is my y-intercept. And then I also have 1, 3, and you could use your list and spreadsheet to get your slope. Or I can count. I go down 1, 2, 3 and write 1. So fall and run. I fall 3 and I run 1, which means my slope is just negative 3. My equation is y equals negative 3x plus my y-intercept, which is 6. And then line B, I have 0, negative 2. And I also have 6, 0, so that's the x-intercept. Here's my y-intercept. And if I count, I go up 2 and I go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this time I rise 2 and I run 6, which simplifies to 1/3. So my slope here, or my equation, is y equals 1/3 x. My y-intercept is negative 2. And these lines are perpendicular because their slopes are the opposite sign and reciprocal, which means they flip the fraction. So remember, our fraction up here was negative 3 over 1. If I flip it upside down, now I have 1 over 3. So what do we notice? That the slopes are opposite signs and reciprocals. Okay, reciprocal meaning that you flip the fraction. Okay, so that means the lines are perpendicular. All right, so parallel means same exact slope. You would have a different y-intercept though. And perpendicular means that you have the opposite sign on your slope and you flip the fraction. So we're going to practice writing some parallel and perpendicular slopes. So here my equation is y equals 3x minus 1, which means my slope is 3. So if I want a slope that is parallel, then my slope would still be 3. And if I want a slope that's perpendicular, I flip it upside down. Remember, this is really like saying 3 over 1. So I flip it upside down and I get 1/3. And then I change the sign. So since it was positive here, it becomes a negative. Number 2, same thing. My slope here, y equals negative 7 over 6x plus 3. My slope is negative 7 over 6. If I want something parallel, I keep it exactly the same. If I want something perpendicular, I flip it upside down and I change the sign. Well, it was negative, so now it becomes positive. Ignore that little mark. And then number 3, y equals negative 1/2 x minus 8. My slope here is negative 1/2. So if I want something parallel, I keep it exactly the same. And if I want something perpendicular, I flip it upside down, which would be 2 over 1, and I change the sign. So it was negative, now it becomes positive. But remember, anything over 1 is just that integer number. All right, number 4. Again, same thing, write the slope that would be parallel and perpendicular to the given equation. So y equals 2x. My slope is 2. So something parallel would be exactly the same. And something perpendicular would be flipping it upside down. So remember, this is really 2 over 1. So if I flip it upside down, I get 1 over 2. And I change the sign from a positive to a negative. Here we have point slope form. Y minus 7 equals negative 3 over 4 times x plus 2. This part right here is your slope. So something parallel would be exactly the same. Something perpendicular would flip it upside down and change the sign from a negative to a positive. And then the very last one, y equals 9 minus 1 over 7x. My slope right now is negative 1 over 7. So parallel would be negative 1 over 7. And perpendicular would be flipping it upside down and changing it from a negative to a positive. And then 7 over 1 is really 7. So here's what it would look like on the STAR test. Write the equation, number 7, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is parallel to y equals 2 over 5x plus 2 and goes through the point 15, negative 3. So two things here. We have to be parallel, so that means my slope is really, right now it's 2 over 5. And so a parallel slope would be the same. I need 2 over 5, which gets rid of a, and all the rest have 2 over 5. And so at this point, then you can use your calculator and do the trace feature. Calculator and do menu 5, 1, and type in the point that you are looking for. So let's go practice that. So we're going to go to a graph page. And it already says y equals, so I can type it right here where it says f of x. And I'm going to put 2 over 5 x, and I'm going to graph it. And then the steps are menu 5, 1. And since I'm looking for 15, I type in the number 15, and then I press enter, and it tells me 6. So that means letter B is not my answer. So let's go to a new graph page, and we'll type in the next one, which is 2 over 5 x minus 9. This is the letter C. And you can barely see it, but again, if you do menu 5, 1, and we want to find the answer at 15. So this time it says 15, negative 3. That is what we are looking for. And so on my paper, we cross that one off. This is the answer. And you could do the same thing by checking the last point. All right, number 8. Write the equation of a line in point-slope form that is parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 7 and passes through the point negative 4, 13. So we want it to be, again, parallel, and it goes through this point. So parallel means same slope. So I need a slope that says negative 3. So my slope has to equal negative 3. And on this one, I'm in luck, because B is the only one that says a slope of negative 3. Number 9. What is the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is perpendicular to the equation y equals 3/5 x minus 5 and goes through the point negative 9, 2? So perpendicular means I take my slope and I flip it upside down and I change the sign. So it was positive, now it's negative. So I'm looking for a line that has negative 5 over 3. That pretty much eliminates everything else. So the answer is D. However, I forgot to show you on the last one, so I'm going to show you on this one. If we go to our graph page, so Control Doc, add a new graph page, and we type in the equation, negative 5 over 3 x minus 13, that's the answer that we picked. If I press menu 5-1 and I type in negative 9, it will tell me 2 because that was the correct answer. Okay, last one. Write the equation of a line in point-slope form that is perpendicular to y equals negative 3x plus 7 and passes through the point negative 6, 4. And so, again, perpendicular means that I want to flip the slope. So my slope right now is negative 3. So my current slope is negative 3 over 1. And if I flip it, I get 1 over 3, and I change it from a negative to a positive. So now instantly I can get rid of C and D. And I'm down to these two equations. So I'm going to have to type those ones in. So we're going to go to our calculator. And we're going to get a graph page. We're going to type in 1/3 x minus 4, menu 5-1, and we're looking for the point negative 6, so that's what I type in. And this one tells me negative 6, negative 6, which means A is not my answer. But let's verify B. So let's go type into a graph page. 1/3 x plus 6. And again, we're looking for the point negative 6, 4. So menu 5-1 and type in negative 6, and it tells me negative 6, 4. So my answer here is B.